in stone.
I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings. Our guest today is known as the Feelin', but he became an overnight star on the hit TV show The Voice in 2012 when he joined Team CeeLo Green and made it all the way to the final three. Nicholas David actually started his career 15 years ago when he recorded his first of 7 albums. His newest CD is called Yesterday's Gone. It was released in November. Nicholas David's voice has been compared to legendary blues rock pioneer Dr. John. And you can hear for yourself. Stay tuned today for a performance and interview with Nicholas David coming up on Border Crossings. Hi, this is Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. In our studios and on tour for a brand new album that came out just a couple of months ago for rock and roll, jazz, blues. He does it all. We've got Nicholas David in our studios, and the album is called Yesterday's Gone. Welcome, Nicholas David.
Thank you, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. You've got a nickname, The Feelin'? Is that your nickname?
Yeah, no G.
No G.
Yeah,
The
T-H-E.
Feelin'.
Yeah, The Feelin'.
Now, how long you had that nickname?
I think since I moved back from the mountains of Colorado back to my home state of Minnesota, I started playing music out, and people just started calling me The Feelin', and it kind of just stuck. Yeah, man.
Well, I was looking at your history, and you have lived in quite a few places. You grew up in Minnesota,
Yep.
and then it was Colorado,
Yep.
and you recorded the album in New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. I'm kind of like basically been going like now, kind of going up and down the river between Minnesota and New Orleans, and then taking it coast to coast.
And your new album is produced by another artist.
Yeah, produced by Miss Samantha Fish.
We had her on last year. She was in here.
Awesome.
And she sounds great. And so she was excited. How did you come across Samantha Fish?
So actually, before we kind of formed this band together with David and Justin and I, Justin and I played together with Devin Allman and Dwayne Betts. Last year we did like, I don't even know, 270 plus shows coast to coast and in Europe. But in the middle of that, we met Samantha Fish over at the Fillmore. We did a show for the Allman Family Revival to celebrate Devin's dad's birthday. And we had to learn a few Samantha Fish songs, and her music really spoke to me. And then we kind of became pals through that. And then as, you know, we saw each other more on the road, she's like, hey, you want to come down to New Orleans and make a record? I said, absolutely.
And Devin is Greg Allman's son.
Yes, sir.
From the Allman Brothers Band, which has been influential to you. I mean, you do a Southern rock blues vibe kind of thing.
Yeah, a touch of that stuff. And yeah, it's just kind of wild. It's like you grow up listening to that music, and then all of a sudden you kind of become a part of it, and dreams and reality kind of mix.
You got quite a collection of sounds. I read you were influenced by Motown when you were younger.
Motown, Mozart. Yeah, man, my mom, there was a station back home in Minnesota called Cool 108, and that's what I listened to the whole time. Just my mom just had that on, and we'd be rocking and rolling, bopping and moving to that.
Interesting. I mean, a guy from Minnesota, you wouldn't think, I mean, jazz and blues and Southern rock growing up in Minnesota.
Yeah, kind of all music, to be honest. And Disney music, man, I love Disney music. All music, to be honest with you. And grew up listening to my grandfather playing the accordion polka. I'm one of like 26 grandkids on one side, so music's always been around.
And you have a big family yourself?
Yeah. 3 boys and a wife and a dog and a bunch of plants.
Well, we're going to talk more about your journey and your experiences on national network television here in the United States as well. But for right now, I'd like you to do a song, if that'd be all right.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to play the first song off the new record called Hole in the Bottom.
It's a nickel and waterfall. The days are going too fast. I realize you're the past behind me, and it's time I let you go. But you're buried in too deep. You used to be so have fallen, and all that is left is words. Thorns cut to the heart of my memory. The dreams they were laid out, left in the sun, to a nickel in the waterfall. The days are going too fast. I realize you're the past behind me. It's time I let you go. But you're buried in too deep. You used to be so sweet, buried in too deep. Used to be so.
Wow, sounding great. Nicholas David.
Thank you, Larry.
Love the vibe. Yesterday's Gone's the name of the new album. I read where you learned to play piano by ear. You were kind of young and you'd kind of listen and you picked it up that way.
Yeah, listen by ear. That's the same, like these hands, these are my grandfather's hands, and that's where he got it from. And actually, I did a little bit of studying, but that was kind of like the thing. It was like a mix of it's in my bones, and then I had to learn a little bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and every night you'd play for
new.
Mom?
Yeah, I'd play for my mom. She sat next to my mom and dad both, but my mom like knew the lesson and be like, "You're not doing your lesson." My dad, I would just be jamming when my dad was listening, and he'd be like, "Sounds great, Nick." And my mom's like, "He's not doing his lesson, Dave." So, but I credit a huge part of that. I mean, my mom and dad, they let my brother and sister and I kind of try a bunch of things, different sports, different art stuff, see what we liked, exercise the gifts that God gave us.
Yeah, and I heard that you were a very good athlete. You played 3 sports in school.
3 sports, yeah, man. I was a football player, baseball, basketball, and then like a bunch of the football guys in high school started doing track. We did track too, but yeah, man. And then found out I could sing around 10th grade, so then started to do theater to get experience on the stage.
So this was it. For an early age, you knew this is your dream.
Yeah, I mean, piano. I played piano since I was like 8. I'm 39. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I found out I could sing kind of around 10th grade. I don't know how old you are then, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm. Same age.
Yeah.
I wish. So, I mean, songwriting, you've been doing that for about the same amount of time? Is that something that comes easy to you? Because a lot of people, songwriting's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at, I've saved all my like high school notebooks and stuff too from different classes, but I'd always be writing lyrics on the side or drawing. I just kind of listen. I listen to the notes that are already there, the melodies, the rhythms that are already there, and just kind of pull from it. I can't really force it. It just kind of, sometimes it comes in waves. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it comes in like maybe a couple verses and then you return to it, but just kind of listen.
Mm-hmm. And you got famous here in the United States initially on NBC TV. You had been doing this for 15 years, so you were on before The Voice, which was, what, I think about 8 years ago,
yeah,
right?
2012.
About 7-8 years ago,
yeah,
and
man.
You finished third. You were on CeeLo's team. Mm-hmm. So what was that all about for you? That must have been quite a ride.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest music schools I probably ever went to or could have ever gone to. Like we did like media training with Jim Henson's best friend. I got to meet Bill Withers, sang with Smokey Robinson, Scott Mayo. He used to play sax with Earth, Wind and Fire. Like, again, the stuff I grew up listening to, I'm kind of now starting to interact with. So it's like dreams and reality mixed.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, how did the fame affect you? Did it affect you in any way? Are you the same guy you were before? I mean, there
yeah.
you are, millions of people.
I'm the
see
same.
you.
Yeah, it was like, essentially doing the same thing around the Midwest. It just kind of expanded the circle. And different people that I knew, they would come up and be like, "Is that really how he is?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's just him."
You were so sweet. You sang to your wife a song. You were pregnant. And she was
I
pregnant.
wasn't pregnant.
You weren't pregnant.
No,
she was pregnant.
And
you sang
do that.
"You Are So Beautiful" to her.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And Sela was crying.
Yeah, it was something, man. Again, it was so surreal, so amazing, and I thank God for the opportunity.
What was the best advice that Sela gave you?
Kind of just be yourself, like to continue to be yourself. That's something he kind of said a bunch, is like we're cut from the same cloth, basically, where we kind of stepped into our own, not trying to emulate or imitate, but just basically be who we are.
Well, that's kind of, it is a thrill to be on television for millions and millions of people, and you're finding overnight success there because you made it to the top 3. And for those that don't know The Voice that are tuned in around the world, it's a week-by-week elimination where there's a lot of contestants initially.
A lot of contestants, and I don't know what they were saying. I think around the time it was like 15 million people watching or something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You couldn't really think about that. Try to just vote. Like my wife said, she's like, you've played music your whole life, just play to the room.
And there you are singing to The Room, which is Adam Levine,
right?
CeeLo Green.
Yeah, which is something. Yeah, it's
just some minor, no-name people.
It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, congratulations on all the success.
Thank you.
Has that changed you, the show's experience at all? Because you were doing this, like I say, before.
Yeah, it, like I said earlier, it essentially just kind of expanded the circle. Took what we were doing in the Midwest and then brought it coast to coast and then even into the world.
But you personally, has it changed you, other than what you do? Being on television and...
I would think so to a degree because, I've kind of walked my whole life, like, open, like with my heart open, everything open, and it was kind of wild because there's a few vultures along the way that took some nibbles, but I feel this is what I would be doing regardless, so learning and growing.
Nicholas David is our guest. We're going to peel away some of the layers of the onion, get to know you a little bit better, talk about some of those struggles. But first, if you wouldn't mind doing another song, we'd like to hear something.
Speaking of peeling things back, we're going to play Peel Back the Leaves.
What do you know?
Nice word.
Back the leaves, just one more day, break off the bark so the roots will stay. I crush the grass underneath my bare feet. It used to be simple, used to be so sweet, didn't hurt this much, didn't have this many needs, but I still have back the leaves, just one more day, break off the bark so the roots will stay. I crush the grass underneath my bare feet. It used to be simple, it used to be so sweet, didn't hurt this much, didn't have this many needs. Used to be simple, used to be so sweet, didn't hurt this much, didn't have this many needs. So sweet.
Nice, very nice. Nicholas David. And as I'm listening to it, it was a little retro vibe. I was feeling, I don't know if you heard the song Always and Forever Heat Wave back in the 70s. I heard some of that. You know, you've been compared to Dr. John.
Yeah, Dr. John. Well, there was an interesting one from the other night. I can't remember.
That's an interesting one.
I thought so. Lou Rawls, Dr. Teeth of the Muppets.
You've got all those sounds going on. So how would you describe your music? I mean,
I say that it's music from the heart for the heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like, you know, we put a lot of costumes on music. We call them certain rhythms or certain genres or whatever, but I feel it's all music, just rhythm, sound, and vibration. And yeah, just kind of pull from it like you would a seasoning rack, you know, put a little bit of garlic over here, a little turmeric, a little thyme, maybe a little bit of ginger.
Wow. You know, the new album sounds really good. Now, how does this differ from your previous albums? Are you progressing, or is it more of the same? I mean, when you pick the songs for an album, that's got to be the most difficult process of you write many songs and you say, I got to narrow this down.
Right. I think, well, this time was the first time I've basically essentially produced all my other stuff. So this was the first time that I basically, you know, handed the steering wheel over. So that was a wild act of vulnerability and trust. And then to go down there and play with people I've never met too was another, you know, example in vulnerability and trust. And it was wild. So you meet people that have dedicated their life to their craft and their gifts as well. So it was a really powerful, cool experience, especially after coming off the road playing with Devin and Dwayne. You know, we played the most music we've ever played in my life, but like never sang any of my songs. So like as Sam was asking me, do you write songs? I was like, yeah, absolutely I do. So it was a really emotional process to come off of that. Mm-hmm. Be like, wow, this is, you know, that sense of purpose. It was pretty cool.
Well, you have like I say, a very unique sound, and you do blend different genres of music, which is great. But when you're on tour with Dwayne Allman or Devin Allman, and you're creating that sound, their Southern rock style is very, very recognizable. And so their fans, how did they receive you when you were doing that?
What do you think, Justin?
I think it's part of what we do to kind of be versatile and kind of be like a chameleon in a sense, and when you do that type of gig, I mean, there's a lot of respect for that history of that music, and so we really dug into that and just studied what the Allman Brothers did, and what I studied what Barry Oakley did. And tried to bring some of that, not copy him necessarily, but bring as much of that as I could to the table. And I think the fans really, they saw that. They're very knowledgeable about what that sound is and what that's all about, and they really enjoyed it, I think. Yeah,
it's almost like we, walking in the footsteps of those architects, of Southern psychedelic rock, and then we kind of become a part of that tribe. So it's like, yeah, you have to honor that music, but then also put your spin, your flavor on it.
Have you done a lot of international touring?
Yeah, we did. We played in like Jamaica, Canada. We were in Europe for like 31 days. It was awesome. Different
audiences? I mean, are they different than American audiences? Because a lot of our audiences are interested to hear an artist's perception of the room, so to speak, comparatively.
I would say so. I'd say a little more, maybe more so engaged to a touch. Like not better or worse, but just like a little more engaged, a little more receptive. It seemed like live music is more of a popular thing over there, as opposed to like, it seems like it's still popular here, but it seems like it's like more for like, a big national arena or something, not people going to clubs as much, because with all the different things they can do at home or from their things, or,
Now, we talked about peeling away the onion, and you talked a little bit, you kind of touched quickly on the fact that there's been some struggles. This always hasn't been the easiest road. Right. You've gone through some lows along with all the highs. How have the struggles that you faced shaped your music writing and who you are as an artist?
Yeah. Thank you, Larry. I feel it's the yin to the yang of what a blessing this is. You got to have some with the other. Otherwise, I feel it's motivation. Like sometimes some of the suffering they said is the kiss of Christ, because it forces true change. Like when you're you're in your habits or you're doing your thing, it's like it's easy to get in the routine. But when something comes and knocks you on your feet, all you can really do is either get back up or stay down. And so it's like you use that as motivation to move forward. Like I said, I'd be doing this regardless if it's on a national stage or not. I'm going to still be singing and spreading my spirit on the walls.
That's great. Well, I know that, it's one question I get, asked of listeners to ask artists who have done the talent show type thing is what happens after you've got fame? Do they abandon you completely? Do they stay with your career? I mean, you do a TV show, you're number 3 out of hundreds, and then all of a sudden, what happens then?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ebbs and flows, but still, it's like everywhere we go, people are like, I love you on the show. I love you. Even when we were in Europe, we're getting food, and people are like, you're the guy on the show. It's like, holy crap.
And that's 7 years later.
It's still wild. So, I mean, it's still like if you threw a rock in the lake, it's still rippling.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't as big as a ripple. I mean, I remember actually D.C., right when I got off the show, we came and played at the Museum for like, there was some like election party and stuff, and Joe Biden was there, and like, I think Bill Nye the Science Guy was there, Sheila E., like it was just crazy, but everywhere I brought my buddy with, and we were walking around, and everybody was like, Nicholas David, Nicholas David, Nicholas David. I mean, it's not as frequent as that, but people still, yeah, like I said, man, it's still wild. The lake's still rippling.
Well, that's great. I mean, your music is great.
Thank you.
And you going to encourage your kids to get into this business?
I mean, maybe. I have the piano, open, and we said you guys can take lessons, and we let them take lessons, but I don't want to force it on them. I want them to find their own gifts and their own path. All
right. Before we hear another song, why don't you introduce the band to those that have been tuned in?
That's David Hawkins, and that's Justin Corgan.
All right.
And I'm Nicholas David.
All right. What are we going to hear next?
The song's called I'm Interested, and it's on Yesterday's Gone.
Watched you dance last night. Your presence filled the room, yeah. I walked up and said my name. They asked you how you did on the do. Cause I have you next to me, want you to be the best of me. You keep it fresh and beautiful like I know that you will, yeah. Felt your way before, I've had so much to say before. I feel my heart is an open door. And by, yeah, and by you. Well, I watch you dance, and there's a moon that dance in your eyes. And the wind that trickled through your hair, but your smile, oh, your smile was enough to take me away. walked up, said my name. Wanna ask you how you do. Cause I have you next to me, want you to be the best of me. You keep it fresh and beautiful like I know that you will, yeah. Been so way before, don't have so much to say before I hear my heart in the open door. Have you next to me, want you to be the best of me. But fresh and beautiful like I know that you will, yeah. Been so way before, don't have so much to say before I hear my heart is an open door. Invite you, yeah.
They're standing around the world right now. Nicholas David is our guest here on Border Crossings, and whether you know him as the family man or the feeling, I like your music.
Thank you, Larry.
I like your music. Yesterday's Gone is the name of the new album. I see you got a Star Wars tabletop cover there, and so are you a Star Wars fan?
Yes, I am.
So you must be really excited about the new Star Wars film?
I am very much so, yes. Yeah.
A sci-fi guy? Is that, you know?
I do, yes. Yeah, I love it. I love the fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any kind of pre-show ritual that you do? I mean, things that you have to do, a routine, something that you'd normally do every show?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much pray before we go on stage. Thank God for the opportunity, give it back, and that's about it.
What's the plan for the next year, for 2020?
To continue to take it to the streets. We've been on the road with Sam, and probably we'll do that again more in 2020. And yeah, just bringing Yesterday's Gone music from the heart, for the heart, to the good people.
And if people want to check out your website, what would it be?
Thefeelin.com, no G.
Thefeelin.no-g.com.
Yeah.
All right. And also social media, you on all the Facebook?
Yeah, if you just
Twitter.
type in Nicholas David, thefeelin.com can connect you to all that stuff. And I mean, if you just type in Nicholas David, you'll find your way.
All right. Well, millions of streams and top 10 on iTunes all the time. Your music's great.
Thank
you.
The
new album is Yesterday's Gone. It's available, I'm sure, on Amazon, iTunes, everywhere.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Nicholas David, Yesterday's Gone is the name of the new album. I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings.